Hi, everyone. It is Steph. This month, we are talking about time management. I'm going to share 5 of my favorite time management hacks with you. And the one today is I'm doing a little bit of myth busting. If you think that you are just an awesome multitasker, you might be kidding yourself. I think we try and cram so much into our day that we convince ourselves that we are effective multitaskers out of necessity. What we really are monotaskers. And I'm going to read a little excerpt of a study that was published by the Cleveland Clinic, and I will also drop a link to that in the notes for this. But here's what they say. All right. Multitasking can hinder your performance. Studies show that when our brain is constantly switching gears to bounce back and forth between tasks, especially when those tasks are complex and require our active attention, we become less efficient and more likely to make a mistake. We are really wired to be monotaskers, meaning that our brains can only focus on one task at a time. When we think we're multitasking, most often we aren't really doing 2 things at once, but instead we're doing individual actions in rapid succession or task switching. So here's what this means for you when it comes to your time management. If you can, and I understand, like, depending upon your profession and your industry, and you might be in one of those professions where if the phone rings, you have to pick it up, and I get that. For most of us, we can time block. So I try to set up my own schedule. So I've got a block of time set aside for tasks, and I might get 10 things done in that block of time, but I'm knocking one out at a time. I'm not switching back and forth between them. I'm going from one to the other. And then I'll set aside blocks of time where it's all devoted to people. And what I find is if I can get my tasks knocked out first, then when I'm with people, I can be really present. So part of time management is understanding also, like, how does the brain work and how can you make the most of the time that you have within your own human limitations. So unless you have an S on your chest and you wear a cape every day, you might have to accept the fact that if you think you've got 10 things going on at once and you're doing a great job, chances are that's not the case. So think more about monotasking and what you can do to set yourself up for that rather than multitasking, which really is a myth. Stay tuned for tip number 2, which is going to come your way next week. If you struggle with time management, you know where to find me. It is something that I help many clients with all the time, no pun intended. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next Wednesday.